Thanks, Marnie. I'm really happy to be here today. A lot of good stories for us, which is a great thing, and many more than we've had in many years. So with that, I want to get the presentations underway. Our first company, let me get to it here. Our first company is Mesmerize. Brad Treat. Brad, if you could come up.
There we go. Good morning. My name is Brad Treat. I'm one of the founders and CEO of Mesmerize, a company based out of Ithaca. I'm unfortunately not joined by my co-founder Cheyenne Desai today. That's why you see his name, but he's not up here. So if you will bear with me, I'm going to work through some of his technical slides as well. First, let me tell you what we are doing and where we're going with it. Mesmerize has a unique technology based on Cornell research that can really change the way in which people interact with their electronics. I'm going to get a little bit into the technology, but there are applications for this tiny module that we're able to make in both defense, mobility, and all sorts of electronics. Combined, we're targeting a market size of $10.6 billion. What I'm going to talk about today is where we are at with that technology, the marketplace, and what we're hoping to talk to you guys about from an investment standpoint. So let me talk about a fundamental problem. A fundamental problem, is that as our devices get smaller, the way in which we interact with them becomes trickier and trickier. So what Mesmerize has developed is an awareness module, a way that we can have the device reach beyond the realm of the physical product. And what that can allow that electronic device to do is be aware and change what's going on around it. So I'm going to talk just briefly what this little module does. So what our module is, kind of give you an idea on size, is something that can go into a standard cell phone size package. You can go into multiple, but it's energy efficient, it's inexpensive, has very low power consumption, but also can do resolution at a high rate, both in the send and capture of light. We can do this from a range from as close to the device as 0.1 meters and as far away as 10 meters, and we can get a precision of this depth up to 5 millimeters. So what we're talking about is this tiny device that can give us a depth map. So what does a depth map mean? So what can I do with a depth map? I want to give a couple examples and then talk about where this goes from a technology and user interface. A depth map allows us to give robots or robotic applications autonomy, give them the ability to see and see what's around them. So you can see some defense applications that I'll talk a little more about. In the mobile space, it enables gesture. So you might have seen some iterations of gesture on the internet. Anybody play with the Wii? We're able to take that gesture capability to your mobile device, once again, with the same module as we use for the robotic system. The third piece that we think is really exciting is how you would use this to change your camera. So with a camera, you get an RGB, you get a red, blue, and green element. With our module paired with that camera, you can now have a depth element. So you can add pictures that you can change the depth of after the picture's been taken. And last but not least, one of the areas that's the most attractive to us for an early market is being able to do 3D mapping, 3D scanning, and capturing the information around you and bringing it into that phone. And that allows you to do some interesting things, both in making you situational aware. If you're an architect, you can get a map of an indoor space, but it also allows you to identify objects to allow you to have barcode-less product identification. So how do we do this? We've got a tiny mirror, a mirror that can move very fast in a controlled way. When you point a laser beam at this mirror, it can scan through a broad range of motions, and when it touches those objects, we can determine how far away that object is. And so every little dot that we scan through, we're measuring the time it takes for light to leave our device to the time it touches something. By doing this 30 to 60 times a second, you're able to get a very precise, what they call a point cloud of that. You pair that up with an RGB sensor, and now you have this 3D color depth map of any device that you're able to process in any numerous ways. The way the same technology works as a projector is by making that a 3-color, that high-speed scan be a 3-color laser, And we're able to modulate that laser very, very quickly to build a projector. And so that's actually the first demonstration of what we've done. We showed at the Consumer Electronics Show this year a working projector that has full color, full motion video, RGB, and I'm able to show you guys a demonstration of it out at the table outside, so I encourage you to come out. And that was extremely well received because it proved that our core breakthrough technology actually worked. We were able to do these things that many people saw our claims, but they were very skeptical. Okay, so what does this marketplace look like? We've broken the marketplace up into where's the big opportunity and where can we get in first. And the entry point for us is being able to do the point cloud capture specifically for a space they call reality capture. So one of our first potential customers we're negotiating with now is looking at how can I get a reality capture map of the world around me and turn it into a digitized space. Going forward, there's applications of the Defense Department where you'll be able to make autonomous robots that can drive and see and map automatically for all sorts of defense applications. As we move forward into this, that's when we get into mobility, and we want to make it clear that we're not initially targeting the mobile phone space, but that's where the huge opportunity is. Now, we're not the, excuse me, let me talk about, I think I actually hit this. I'm going to jump in now to the business slides, which I know a little bit better. We're not the only guys doing this. And the competitive market space really breaks up into two pieces, the people doing the depth portion of things and the people doing the projector. I really want to focus on the depth piece because we think this is really the exciting part of it. What really sets us apart is we don't have a compromise. Many of our competitors have a compromise between the field of view, the power consumption, or the resolution. With our technology, we don't have that disadvantage. And we're able to use the same module for a myriad of applications, whether they're low power and lightweight or high speed and high field of view. In the projection space, there are a number of competitors that as we've been able to go out in the space, they too realize that by using this technology in reverse, they can do capture, but they're still limited by their same core technology, which is they're limited by their ability to do this high motion, high speed, wide field of view. Mesmerize doesn't suffer from that. So let me summarize a couple of the competitive advantage. So we have this unique technology on how to make this mirror with this breakthrough materials technology. We've been able to protect that with a series of patents. We have 7 patents that have been granted. This is true largely because we've licensed these through Cornell, and so they're mature patents. But as a company, we've continued to innovate, and we have 16 additional patents pending. Our process can be, our materials significantly outperform traditional silicon, and that allows us to go beyond what our competitors are doing, and that's core to our intellectual property. So our business model is to design these modules and make them in a standard fab. So even though we're using exotic materials, we're able to make these in a standard fab, then partner with the system integrators to bring these to market. So these are the markets that we're looking at, and I want to hit on this again because it's key. So we're looking at taking oops, I'm not advancing those slides, am I? Damn it. They warned me about that. So let me hit on the markets again. So we talk about the projector. I'm going to show the projector. Making situationally aware robots, this is the mapping capability. Indoor mapping, where we're going to start our applications, being able to take a 3D picture of your space and give it to you. 3D scanning we think is very interesting because this is where you get non-barcode object recognition, and gesture interfaces are making your mobile device or computer situationally aware. And we have customers in each one of these spaces who we're talking to now. So there's a bit of a color code, it's hard to see, but we already have a paying customer in the semiconductor industry around the capability of doing the gesture awareness. We have significant interest from the CAD software company for both strategic investment and a pre-order. And within the mobile and internet space, we're working with one of the key mobile internet retailers on how they can use this as a buying engine. So we put together a world-class team. I'm going to just highlight 2 key people here. The first is Greg Galvin, an experienced upstate New York MEMS technology CEO, the founder of Kionix, a company he actually sold twice. He's our executive chairman and brings almost 2 decades of experience and knowledge from this industry. And lastly, I point out Dr. Don Greenberg. He's a professor at Cornell who's one of the leaders in information graphics. And so he's one of the people who's been instrumental in connecting us to key players in the marketplace. And myself and my co-founder in the middle, the key thing we like to point out is we are experienced entrepreneurs. Myself having started and profitably sold another startup out of Cornell, and my co-founder being the inventor, but also a successful, profitable entrepreneur himself. So in summary, we have customer traction. We are currently raising a Series B of $3 million to be able to build and deliver these modules. We've proven prototypes of these modules, and now the customers are saying, we want the module, let us have it, so we can start getting some design wins. We are supported by a group of upstate New York venture capital investors who have already committed to providing the first half of this funding, and we're looking to bring in some other savvy investors to round out that round. Where do we see the extra opportunity is within acquisition and the chip manufacturers. Thank you very much.
Okay, as we get our AV set for the next company is Energy Harvesters LLC, Lawrence Grummer.
Good morning. I'm Larry Grummer. I'm co-founder, CEO, and co-inventor of the technology for Energy Harvesters. We're commercializing a product that fits within your footwear that allows you to charge your smartphones anytime, anywhere from your own walking. I'm wearing something right now that shows how power is produced simply from foot motion. Instead of lighting some LEDs, you'd be charging up your smartphone. We all know what it's like to run out of smartphone power. It happens often when we don't have access to an electric grid. For some of it's an inconvenience, for others it's kind of a life-threatening situation. Globally, there are 6 billion mobile phone subscribers. 5 billion are in developing nations, and 500 million people have cell phones, but they don't have the ability to charge their smartphone at home. Going to another extreme, military. Soldiers are completely overburdened, carrying 35 pounds of batteries on a typical combat mission. It lowers their mobility, it creates a fatigue, it causes injury. Those musculoskeletal injuries cost the U.S. government $500 million. Our solution can offset that burden, as well as lowering the military cost by $1 billion for batteries. And in between, we have the whole recreation and the consumer industrial space market. We looked at a continuum of need. Who wants it, who needs it, and why? And this need really goes from a critical must-have solution for the military and related groups to a solution needed or a solution desired for outdoor workers and mobile workers to eventually the broad-based consumer, where we look at the quantities being huge, but it's not a demand at this point. We will follow a business path that takes us from a premium down to a lower cost as we build volume and come down our cost curve. Value propositions. For the end user, they want to charge their smartphone devices. They want to heat boots. They want to cool boots. There's medical health monitoring things that they want to do. All of that is really enabled by our devices. GPS locators for children. Footwear brands, they're our customers. They want innovation. They want customer retention. They want to distinguish themselves in their brands. Our technology provides that. We have spoken to all of the brands that you see up there. We've met with them at the very senior management levels. We have letters of interest from Timberland, from Dayton Boot. Vibram came over from Italy to meet with us. Vibram is the world's largest manufacturer of boot soles. Wolverine has invited us to meet with their product line managers at the end of the month. So we think we're on target based on our customers, and this is something that we'll pursue more aggressively as we move to the next level of funding. So the product solution. Every time you take a step, we use your energy to create a charge. We're charging up a battery. We have some innovation. The innovation really resides all within the heel of the boot. And the power socket is what contains the charging device. It's not much different than a battery. You pull the charging device out and you plug it into the bottom of your phone. No disassembly. When the charge is done, it goes back into your boot for the next cycle. That's pretty rapid and one that we think really represents an elegant solution, not only for the brands but for their end customers. So how does this all work? I think you've seen something called a shake flashlight. You shake the flashlight, it lights up. It's not much more than a magnet moving inside of a coil. We've taken that same thing and we've innovated it. We wind up having multiple magnets, multiple coils, and a hydraulic insole that allows my step back and forth to wind up powering things. We've been self-funded 100%. We have a patent pending with 20 claims. We've prototyped the major components. We've produced a risk reduction path, and our next level of funding is to make this a field-ready prototype, a more durable device. Our target customers are the footwear brands. We sell them our components, they integrate it into their footwear, and they take us to market through their well-established distribution channels. That's very efficient. We met with all of these government agencies. We have over $1 million of proposals outstanding with them. We've met with most of these, in fact, all of these that are up there we spoke with and met with at the general manager at the operating level, have letters of interest and know we're on target with our innovation. What's nice is that the need for power, whether you're a recreation, an outdoor camper, military, is all the same. It's communications, it's computing, it's cameras, it's imaging, it's all of these things. And what's nice is the footwear brands make boots and footwear for all of these. So we wind up serving multiple markets through our key customers. It's a huge market, $48 billion annually in the United States for footwear. There are 22.4 billion pair of footwear sold. We immediately say, let's go for the premium end of that. That's 50 million pair per year, and we reduce that even further where we say it's really the high-end premium. It's people that have that need solution, that military, that serious outdoor person. In year 4, selling about 750,000 pair, we have a share of market about $21 million, and we're only about 2% penetrated. So from our initial target market, we're barely scratching the large size to here and ultimately on up to the bigger product market. Other companies have tried. We had direct competition, piezoelectrics, dielectric, elastomers, thermoelectrics. They all failed commercially. They could not produce enough power, and they were not rugged and durable. We've already gone ahead and achieved a 20x power output that, one, makes us power ready for commercial. We have one moving part, that magnet moving inside those coils, that makes us inheritably durable, and we bring a value add to the brands. We have indirect competition, solar, backpack, hand cranks. They all have to be carried with you. They all have to be charged externally. They require sunlight. There is competition. There's no getting around that, but they tend to be impractical. We satisfy the end user with the practicality, with our customers with the value add. The key from an execution stand is that we go through distribution with them, and we've got people from the industry that really know how to get the job done. Domain experts from defense industry, from footwear, from consumer products. People on our team that have come from the footwear industry, that built their own brand of footwear and sold it. So we know where and how to track things forward, and we're finding that we're on top of our position of needing to bring a field-ready prototype to engage the next level of business. Quick highlight, milestones accomplished. Patent pending, 20 claims. We have a strategic investor. We started with manufacturing partners. One of them has become a strategic investor. Interest has been validated, letters of interest are in hand, in-boot demonstrated through our self-funded prototype, and to repeat on our government projects. Our market commercialization. We take to market starting with a premium, move down the cost curve and volume curve to expand to a more consumer market, and ultimately we license to the end market. We are an OEM supplier, we're an OEM supplier and a joint venture relationship, and we're strictly licensing. It's effective, it scales, and it's one that builds steady growth along the way. Financials. We're transformational. We're at the intersection of two industries, mobile electronics and footwear, and they're enormous. Our business scales according with high revenues and high margins. We're at roughly $6, $21, and $40 million in revenues, producing a handsome $8 and $17 million in earnings in years 4 and 5. Importantly, it's job creation as well. We're looking at about 20, 40, 60 kind of jobs in years 3, 4, and 5, respectively. Upstate New York, that's where our manufacturing partner is, so we split between our jobs and those for our manufacturing partners. This is our first round of outside capital. We're looking for $500,000. $500,000 gets us first customer. We wind up spending that money across our product for demonstration in the field. About $300,000 takes us to that level. We'll hire our VP of engineering and allow us to place our product in the customer's hands. Our second tranche of capital is $1 million to $2 million, $1.5 million to $2 million, and that fulfills our order. That puts us in pilot production. That scales us from our initial work right here. This is a break-even point in year 3. We will look to about $2 to $6 million debt if our strategics don't cover that completely. We have a strategic investor, and we're a liquidity event in year 2007. So our exit plan, we think we're a target for acquisition. Clearly, an IPO is in the realm of possibility. The footwear brands wanting innovation, mobile electronic firms that want to have a unique charging capability, footwear manufacturers, battery companies, insole companies, even defense contracts, and we met with a number of them. Their strategic business units all have an interest. So I think that concludes. Thank you very much.
Great. Our next company is Harker Bio, Wayne Schultz.
How many more slides? I'm going the right way, right? Yeah. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, great. Welcome, everybody. My name is Wayne Schultz, and I'm a co-founder and chief scientific officer of Harker Bio. Harker Bio is a biotechnology company that offers services to the pharmaceutical industry that rapidly and cost-effectively advance the development of new pharmaceutical agents. We are created as a for-profit spin-off of the Houtman Woodward Medical Research Institute, a leader in the field of structural biology. The pharmaceutical companies are in big trouble. It costs nearly $2 to $12 billion to bring a new drug to market. The failure rate for new drug discovery programs is greater than 95%. And it takes an incredibly long time to get a drug approved by the FDA, sometimes taking more than 10 years, which leaves very little time on patent. In response to this, Big Pharma, which has expensive internal resources, has begun to outsource their R&D to try to lower costs. Small pharma, which now faces a very large barrier even to entering the field of drug discovery, now has to partner with either a large pharmaceutical company or a contract research organization where it's required to share its IP. The total outsourcing market, preclinical, this year for the pharmaceutical industry was over $20 billion and is projected to grow at a rate of 15% per year for the next 10 years. In response to this, we created Harker Bio, which is a company that uses structural biology to improve the success rate and lower costs for doing pharmaceutical development. We use patented technology to create crystals, and the crystals are exposed to X-rays, and from that we can generate the structure of a three-dimensional protein drug target. Drug design is very much like if you have a lock and you're looking for a key to fit that lock. And traditionally in drug design, you'd have to look through a pile of 1 million keys to find one that fits that lock. In our case, the lock is a protein target. The key is a new drug that affects that target. And what we can do through structure is look through the keyhole to see the inside of the lock. We can see the structure of the protein, and we can use that to directly design a new key to open that lock. We start this process by designing a small piece of a key, a small piece of a drug that fits into its target. And then we can look at that structure and see how to improve it. We can add pieces to it. We can make it fit better. And by using structure in an iterative process, we can come up with a final drug molecule that matches our protein exactly, a key that matches the lock. In a study of over 1,000 different drug discovery programs, it was shown that structure not only reduces the failure rate, but increases the chances by threefold of getting a drug to the phase 1 clinical trials, which is a huge advantage. Harker Bio is going to offer 4 main products, which cover all of the steps necessary for any company to be involved in structure-based drug discovery. That is, we will express and purify target proteins. We will crystallize those proteins, and that is an absolute necessary step and a very difficult step in the structure determination process. We will solve the structure of target proteins by themselves and in complex with lead compounds, and we will work in an iterative optimization cycle with pharmaceutical company chemists to improve those drugs and get them to the clinical trials. Our main competition is Emerald Biostructures, which is located outside of Seattle, Washington. They've been in business for several years, and they have about 50 employees as of now. And they have seen in the last few years a significant increase in their business because of this policy of outsourcing in the pharmaceutical industry. Proteros, Evotec, and Crelux are competitors that offer similar services and are located in Europe and have a limited footprint in the US market. We expect to differentiate ourselves from this competition by leveraging the reputation, the scientific expertise, and world-class infrastructure at the Hauptmann Woodward Institute. Our team alone has over 75 years of experience in the field of structural biology, and our scientists, for our current customers, have been able to double their success rate for finding crystals of protein targets. We continue to develop and implement the latest technologies, including there was just an article in Business First about a new piece of equipment that we acquired that improves our pipeline dramatically. And we, more importantly, are very experienced in handling the most difficult problems in structural biology, which include membrane proteins, a major target of the pharmaceutical industry. We, through HWI, have access to thought leaders in the field. We plan to focus our target on pharmaceutical business development managers. These are the people who have the money that decide where outsourcing spending goes. Harker Bio will act as an interface with pharmaceutical companies to bring projects in, and through a fixed pricing agreement with HWI, will leverage the laboratories and scientists there. Harker Bio will also act as the interface between new partners and suppliers that enhance the quality of our pipeline of products. Products are directly delivered to science discovery drug teams at pharmaceutical companies, where we will work in a feedback process with them to develop new drugs, get them to the clinic, as well as develop new projects. There are 25 major pharmaceutical companies. They generate just over 25,000 structures per year, including pre-structural efforts. That's a $250 to $400 million market. There are about 6,000 to 8,000 small pharmaceutical companies involved in drug discovery, and that represents another $200 million market for those that use structure. Our technology can also be applied to industrial enzyme manufacturers, agricultural companies, and bio nanomachines. In an early customer face-to-face survey, we've discovered that we can divide them into two groups, clients and partners. Clients are those that people or companies that wish to buy our services directly. Partners are those that wish to collaborate with us. We find that in the areas that we are strongest, in crystallization and structure determination, we have customers who would like to buy our services directly. In the area of drug discovery, where we are expanding our capabilities, we have an even number of partners and clients. Currently, we are trying to raise $500,000 in a Series A investment. We need to hire a business manager CEO that has experience in the pharmaceutical industry. We are building out a sales force, and we need to develop operations that meet commercial standards. According to our projections, we expect to be cash positive by year 2, and we expect to generate nearly $5 million in revenue by year 4. This is our team. Tim Umland and Joe Luft are scientists. We've gotten together to form this company, and we've had a lot of help from Jack Greco, who has been our business development consultant. We're all here at this meeting today. If you'd like to stop by our table and talk to us, please do. Thank you.
Our final company for this session is Savvy Docs, Inc., Hans Downer.
Good morning. My name is Hans Downer, and I'm CEO of a company called Savvy Docs. And what I'd like to do today is introduce you to the dawning of a new age of mobile document management that's probably simplified beyond anything you've ever seen. In today's environment, version control is a huge problem in enterprises large and small. Just think of your own situation going into a meeting, trying to find the current copy of a document. You can't find it, you finally find it. What changed since the last time I read it? How do industry analysts look at this? The Real Story Group is a team focused on the document management space, and they've recently said delivering a contextual mobile experience has become a top enterprise business priority. It's all about getting the right document to the right person on the right device at the right time. That's exactly what we do. At the end of their dissertation, they say, alas, most web content management and portal vendors cannot do this effectively today. That's good news for us because we can do that. So how do we do it? At a high level, our architecture is comprised of a web-based server that supports our SaaS model that's really a very sophisticated differencing engine. We accept input from either PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, or a PDF. We push live updates out to purpose-built readers on an iPad or a PC. As the document goes out, it's secured. As it's stored on those devices, it's secured. With this architecture, we can assure that the people in the field always have current copies of their documents on their devices. The changes are very easily identified because of our differencing engine, and I'll talk about that later. And it's securely distributed, as I mentioned. The market itself is absolutely enormous. IDC's estimated this market size at $20 billion by 2015. And in addition, Forrester has estimated there'll be 760 million tablets worldwide by 2016. And we all know that today, tablets are outselling PCs. So how do we address that market? We've got 3 approaches. We're going to build on the relationships that our SI partners have with their large enterprise customers to approach the enterprise market space. But as we all know, if you're shooting at those big elephants and you happen to miss, you've got a huge hole in your revenue stream. So we're going to complement that with the tried and true approach of all cloud-based servers or cloud-based applications, and that's using a web-based portal where we've got freemium offerings, try it and buy it. And last but not least, we're also talking to a couple of OEM partners, the most significant of which is the venture team at OpenText, who are quite excited about the opportunity of how this will complement their document management system. Over the next 3 to 4 months, we need to structure our team to focus on one specific vertical. We've got 3 that we're looking at right now that are quite interested in the application: legal, government, and healthcare. I'm sure there are others, but over the next 3 to 4 months, we'll focus on one and develop very deep integrations in that space to cement our leadership position. From a competition perspective, there's 3 key areas where we see competitors: file sync and store like Box and Dropbox, secure document transfer, and also iPad readers. And what we've done is we've taken the best from all of those 3 and developed one end-to-end solution. And our key difference is that we can tell you exactly what's happening inside the document at the word, sentence, and paragraph level, as I'll show you here in a second. To protect our solution, we filed 4 independent patent claims, 58 dependent claims. And let's take a look at what this might look like on an iPad. After 2 taps, you come to this screen. And you don't have to look through a complicated file and folder structure. The document's on your desktop. That little green tick in the upper left-hand corner says it's the current copy of the document. We give you a little bit of information about the document itself, and let's say we wanted to look at that one called Audit of Accounts Receivable. And this is where our key difference comes out. We can tell you there's 10 changes in that document since the previous version was published, and those page thumbnails highlight exactly which page the changes are on. Now let's see what's on page 17. You tap on page 17, it highlights the change. No change is required. That's a pretty stupid change, sorry. And it also tells you what it replaced. Now key here is you notice there's no word change tracking, no multiple colors, no crossouts. It's a nice, clean document. We believe this is the first alternative to Microsoft Word tracking that will gain some pretty significant traction. In addition, as you're reading the document, we're keeping track of which page you're on and for how long. So we can go back to the author and say, you sent this document to these 5 people. You suggested to us that if somebody was on the page for 10 seconds or longer, consider it read. So based on that parameter that you gave us, here's how many pages these people have read. And if you hover over the number, it'll tell you specifically which pages. So that's, in areas where compliance is important, that's a huge benefit. Quality assurance, ISO processes, even field auditors in PwC, Deloitte, and companies like that. Our first actual pilot was on an ERP implementation at Ventura County, California, with CGI, a $10 billion systems integrator, and the Ventura County folks. Everybody had to have consistent copies of the document to save time and save money. What did they find out? They found out that in their executive meetings, they were saving 15 minutes per meeting because they didn't have to get everybody up to speed. They were saving $900 in employee time in those meetings. They were paying $450 for the licenses, so payoff was immediate. They also found it's incredibly easy to use. 10 minutes after watching a quick video, everybody was fully up to speed. Same thing at our second pilot, which was a Pallium organization, a healthcare organization in Canada. One that might ring a few bells with folks here is the legal environment. In today's environment, you get a Microsoft Word document going back and forth 2 or 3 times. I think we all recognize that it's kind of difficult to understand it with all those different colors on it, all the crossouts, and you get multiple writing styles within the document, which can make it complicated. In addition, the author has to do a black line review just to make sure that nothing that came back wasn't highlighted by word change tracking. In our environment, we send out a nice clean document with the thumbnails that highlight where the changes are. The clients can tap on the thumbnails, see the changes immediately, be certain that they're not missing anything, put their changes associated with the document, but they can't change the document itself. Only the author can change the document. And as our legal friend says, the lawyer owns the pen, and I love that. I talked about hospitals. It's all about protocols in hospitals in the United States. The U.S. federal government audits hospitals to ensure that they have got the current copies of protocols and procedures on the desktops of the doctors and nurses. We can provide that capability right out of the box. Our team, I've got over 30 years experience in high tech, last 25 in executive roles with companies such as Nortel, Entrust, MXI Technologies, March Networks, as well as 2 startups. And we are incredibly fortunate in 2012 when Adobe laid off 150 people in Ottawa when they outsourced the live cycle development to India. We hired the best 4 guys they had, and we hired a guy that ran a 150-person development team. So not only are these guys really, really smart, but they've all worked together before. That team's been able to deliver every single milestone we had on target for 2013. Commercial product came out on June 7th. We're now on the third release of the product, and we have our first 2 orders in-house. In addition, I went back to them probably in the April timeframe and said, guys, it's really tough to raise money here with the burn rate we've got. We'll exchange stock for salary. They all eagerly agreed. We've been able to reduce our burn rate from $120,000 a month to $46,000 per month. Financially, we target about $500,000 in revenue this year. Out year 2016, about $20 million, with margins in the 80+% range in the out years. That may seem pretty aggressive, but in a 4-year period, Dropbox grew from 0 to $250 million. Here's some household names that we're talking to. One Crown Corporation in Canada, 5 federal departments, the LA Bar Association, who may actually remarket the solution to their members, Montefiore Hospital in New York. Remember I said that the federal government does those compliance audits? They missed. U.S. Federal Reserve Bank, U.S. Government Printing Office, and the American College of Radiology. To date, we've raised $1.25 million in 2 rounds. We've got a $1 million Canadian federal government loan that's non-dilutive at 0% interest. And in this round, we've raised $265 so far. Right now, we're looking to close an additional $250,000 to close this tranche, 8% interest, 30% discount off the A round funding, with a share price cap of 50 cents. In summary, it's simple, it's easy to use. It runs on a public cloud or a private cloud. Users are fully productive within 10 minutes of viewing that quick video. And the user knows they've got the latest version of the document. They know the changes since the last version that they read. They know the document's secure, and the author knows who's read it. So back to that original concern from the Real Story Group, that we've delivered the content to the right person on the right device at the right time. Thank you very much.